Now this question is from linear algebra, and the problem with this question is that it can confuse you very easily. So let's try to do this problem. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 people who appear in the test. Let their marks also be P, Q, R, and S. The question, what is the question? Has P scored more than Q? They are asking us if P is greater than Q or not. It's a question, so I have to put a question mark. This is the question: is P greater than Q? I have no idea. Let's read the statements. Statement 1 says, sum of the marks scored by P and Q is equal to sum of marks scored by R and S. P plus Q is equal to R plus S. This is kind of a useless statement because we need to understand the relation between P and Q. They are on the same side, and also even if they are on the different side, it's still hard to analyze. Why? Because let's assume that R and S together got 100 marks. Let's say like 50-50 or 60-40, something like that. So P and Q can have any combinations. P can have 90, Q can have 10, or P can have 20, Q can have 80, or P can have 10, Q can have 90. There are many combinations. So we cannot say who scored bigger or less. So that statement 1 alone is useless. So I'll go with statement number 2. Statement number 2: sum of the marks scored by P and S is more. Wait, is more? Did they say equal? Yes, is more than the sum of marks scored by Q and R. P plus S is more than the sum of the marks scored by Q and R. Okay, this, let's see, would help us or not. So P plus S scored higher mark than Q and R. Using statement 2 alone, we actually cannot come to a conclusion. Why? The only information it gives that P and S have a bigger mark and Q and R have a smaller mark. That's only only value we have. Just because that we cannot say that P is higher than Q. For example, let's assume that P scored 20 mark, but S scored 70 mark. Combined mark will be 90. And Q scored, let's say 30 mark, and R scored, let's say 10 mark. Combined mark will be 40. So 90 is of course greater than 40. But in this case, P has scored lesser mark than Q. Okay, P only have 20, Q have 30. The inverse can also happen. I can simply write it as 70 plus 20. Okay, in this case, of course, the scenario remains same, but here P have scored more. But anything can happen. So just by using statement number 2, we cannot come to a conclusion. Okay, multiple options are there. Now we have to see to combine these two statements. So if I combine these two statements, how to combine? I will use the equation and I'll substitute that value. I need to put P and Q. P and Q should sustain in my equation. I can replace R and S. So let's replace whom? Let's say R. Okay. So from this equation, I can say that P plus Q minus S equal to R. So I got a value which is of the equal value of R. So instead of R, I am going to put this value. Then this equation will become inequality will become Q plus P plus Q minus S. Now if you check at it, what you can see is that I can take these values like Q and Q are there. Q and Q will combine to form, I'll write in the next line, P plus S greater than 2Q plus P minus S. This P will go to the other side and cancel this P, like P minus P, and minus S will go to the other side and become S plus S greater than 2Q, or from here I can say that 2S is greater than 2Q, or I can divide both sides with 2 and I can say that S is greater than Q. So statement number 2 says that S is greater than Q. Okay, S is greater than Q. Well, that is not directly going to help us much. Now interestingly, it says that S is greater than Q. You can try what is going to happen if we substitute. Okay, wait. So this is one information which you got, S is greater than Q. But that's not enough, right? We can, using that information, we cannot say that P is greater than Q. Because if S is greater than Q, S can take up a value like 50. P can take up, okay. Okay, S is greater than Q, that one will not help. Now let's do one more thing. Here we substituted R. Instead of substituting R, let's just try to substitute S. That is P plus Q. From the same equation, we can get P plus Q minus R is equal to S. What is going to happen if I do that? P plus Q minus R is equal to S. So instead of S in this equation over here I can put P plus Q minus R. In that case, this equation P plus S greater than Q plus R will become, instead of S I am going to put P plus Q minus R greater than Q plus R. Again, P and P combine, 2P. Q and Q get cancelled. Other side R will go to other side, 2R. Or P greater than R. So now this is another information. We got two information. S is greater than Q. P is greater than R. But we still don't know the relationship between P and Q. The only thing which we know is that S is greater than Q and P is greater than R. Now, is there any way that we can come to a conclusion using like that S is greater than Q, S is greater than Q, P is greater than R? That is only information. And also they say that when you are adding P plus Q is equal to R plus S. Here also we can analyze S is greater than Q, S is greater than Q, and P is greater than R, P is greater than R. So let's see if we can come to a conclusion. This is a little bit tricky. Let's see if we can come to a conclusion. S is greater, P is greater, and Q and R are comparatively smaller. S is greater than whom? S is greater than Q, P is greater than R. See, we still can, I don't think we can still come to a conclusion, because let's substitute some random values and see. I can take the value for P. It should just be greater than R. P just should be greater than R. That's the only thing which I have to take care. I'm going to take the value of P as 80. And then value of R should be any value less than that. Let it be 30. Okay. Now let's look at Q and S. I have to maintain that the sum is also equal. S should be greater than Q. So I can put the value of S as, let's say, 70. Yes. And Q to be 20. Okay. In this case, of course, P is greater than Q. Okay. But I can also make a scenario where here P is greater than Q. This is P and this is Q. I can also try to make a scenario where Q is greater. How to do that? Again, I'm going to take the value of Q as, let's take the value of Q as 80. If like the K of value of Q as 80, and S should be some value greater than that. Let it be 100. S is going to be 100. Okay. Now I have to find the value of R and S, and it should match also. The only condition is that P should be greater than R. P should be greater than R. So if I put the value of P, to be, let's say, 30, okay, the combined thing 8 plus 30 will become 110. Then R's value will be 10. Here P is greater than R and Q is less than S. But in this case, the scenario just turned, right? P, this is the value of P, that is less than Q. So even after combining all the equations, all the information, we are still confused. That is, we still don't know the answer is if P is greater than Q or not. Therefore, we cannot come to an answer. The question cannot be answered even by using both the statement. And one more thing which I want to tell you is that whenever the option is coming to be option D, the question inherently become a little bit harder. Okay. The problem with that is that, see, to prove that something question cannot be answered, you have to analyze all the cases. Okay, and at the same time, in this case also, when the question can be answered using either statement alone, even that case is actually a little bit harder. If one of the statement is useless, then life will be easier. If this is answer, problem is very easy. Or even if even this is answer, the problem will become easy. But in these problems, depending upon the answer, depending upon the statements, the question's hardness will change. If the answer is B or D, that problem is a little bit harder. So the answer for this problem is anyway D. The question cannot be answered. That's it, guys. Thank you.